Hello, brother. Oh, you're muted.
My mic muted. Yeah,
Oh.
on my head.
Oh, God, you're so loud. Hold on. Why are you so loud? All right, there. Now I can hear myself think. Ooh, you're in Cancun, huh? Again.
Shut up.
Well, weren't you just in Cancun like the last time we recorded?
I've never recorded in Cancun this first time.
That's fair. That's a good point.
The last time we were going to record, I was at a chess tournament in the cities.
That's what it was. Okay. So, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. You saw what I just showed you where I...
It's hard to beat that. Yeah. So I am actually home with the boys. Nicole, we were recording early enough, and our baby sleeps until 11 for some reason. Well, he also stays up till 11. He'll sleep 12 hours, but it's 12 hours like to the minute from when he goes to bed to when he wakes up.
Well, that's good. You can plan life around that.
Yeah. I've got Ronan sitting in front of a have you ever heard of Trash Truck? It's a Netflix. It's a Netflix kids show, and he absolutely loves it. I don't know why. I don't really understand it, but that's fine.
Okay. So, I'm just impressed that I can actually do this with this internet connection.
You look darn near flawless. Like, your internet at home is not as good as wherever you are now. Apparently,
when I'm upstairs, I'm far away from the Wi-Fi, spot. So that's why it's
from the Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Well, last time we tried to record, I couldn't even connect to the internet because somebody disconnected a cord. I'm not going to say any names, Tara. You disconnected the Wi-Fi when we were going to record that one time. Remember? Yeah. She says she's sorry, audience. She didn't mean to.
Listeners / soon-to-be watchers.
Right.
All right,
let's not make this the first episode. I mean, I'm sitting here wearing a tank top and
yeah, we'll call it the Cancun episode. It's great.
Yeah, that's great. Let's go.
I look like a mess. I literally rolled out of bed and walked over and put my child in front of a TV and said, "Hey, this is all you get today, but enjoy it while it lasts."
Yeah, no kidding. That's all I remember my childhood being for the most part.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like child safety and monitoring, nobody gave a shit about child safety until like the 2000s for some reason.
No, I remember you could leave 12-year-old in a home with an 8-year-old and a newborn infant for 18 hours at a clip, and CPS didn't get called or anything. Not that I'm speaking from personal experience as a child of 12, but I could be wrong.
Just like John Mulaney's bit, he's like, that's like having your horse watch your dog. His babysitter was just like 3 years older than him. He could just she could just dial the phone a little bit better. Yeah, so I don't know. Am I weird as a parent in that I spend almost every free moment with my kids? Like, I know
that's great.
The Gen Z, millennial generation, Gen Zs are only just starting to become parents, I think, at a young age. But millennials are up like some 80% amount of time they spend with their kids compared to like their parents. I spend every waking minute with my children.
I think when they were younger, you don't have much of a choice, to be honest with you. Somebody's got to be monitoring the little babies. But when you get, toddler, when they start being able to make their own meals, they can have some independence, and definitely don't want to.
What age does that
smother them? Independence? I don't know. I mean, I think it like,
because my kid can already spread cream cheese on a bagel. Does that count?
Right? No, that's not even close. No, like I mean, at 7, 8 years old, when they can open the fridge and pull something out and not like break stuff. I mean, yeah, obviously you work up to it like you are. They can make their own peanut butter and jelly sandwich or heat up their own little container of mac and cheese. And then as adults, they're self-sufficient because of you let them do that on an occasion, because sometimes still that makes the kitchen go boom. You know, there's remnants of jelly and peanut butter and bread that didn't get spread very well. You
It's
know,
really, really hard to burn down the kitchen making cereal. I get it. Actually,
I
do
bet
remember.
you could find a way.
I remember very vividly when I was like 5 years old. Dad asked me to like go get him a glass of milk, and I was, 5. I was not strong enough to lift an 8-pound gallon of milk. I may have been younger. It's hard to say. And I was pouring the glass of milk, dropped the gallon because I couldn't, and the entire thing just shattered. I don't think I've ever seen a gallon of milk shatter so badly, but the entire kitchen floor was just covered in milk. And I cried because I was a child and I ruined everything. And I just remember Sean coming over as we were cleaning up and be like, "Hey, don't cry over spilt milk." Hey! So, where is Alex?
My Alex is in, I think he's going back from Paris today. So, I mean, that's big news, right?
Your Alex, yeah. Your son is engaged.
I know,
that's
right?
Great. How old is he?
He is 20.
Well, that's young.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
why did I think he was 20?
That doesn't mean...
I didn't think... I thought he was 22 for a second. I'm way off.
He's not graduated to college and gone to law school yet. You know, he's young like I was, so he's not even 21 yet. He'll be 21 this summer. So. Is
that still the track for him? He still wants to do law school?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. He's studying for the LSAT, which I never did, so that's good.
Well, that's good. I'll do everything in my power to convince my children not to go into medicine. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, the status of law and medicine is just very challenging these days and not as rewarding as it once was. And there's just a lack of respect for both professions, I think, because there's this knowledge base on the interwebs and people think that they're sufficient to do the work. So
their Google is as good as my doctorate, right?
Yep.
I still think of that. I think I already made this joke at one point, but I still think of that like there's a bunch of mugs that say your Google is not as good as my MD, your Google's not as good as my JD, whatever. But then there's the programmer. It's like your Google search isn't as good as my Google search.
That's a good one. Yeah, where's Alex K? He is late.
Yeah, that Alex, the one.
Yeah, I know which Alex should be. I just figured, we're free rolling. We could, small talk. And my son is engaged, and I love her. I love his fiance and her parents.
Do you? I was gonna say I don't know anything about her.
Yeah, her parents, her family's amazing. Oh yeah, absolutely amazing
awesome
people. And so we got a chance to meet them when we were in Arizona. Over I think it was Thanksgiving. Yeah, I mean, when you weren't in the state anymore for Thanksgiving. Anyways, but yeah, we got a chance to hang out for an entire day. I know, right? Unfortunate.
You should come to Colorado this year for Christmas
or
one of the holidays.
Yeah, I want to come to I want to go to Colorado.
Oh, yeah. Well, I know you do for some reasons, but other reasons too.
Whoa, slow down there. There's dispensaries are getting their licensures now. They're giving out licenses now. Minnesota's finally got the program up and running, and so I'm not going to have to be concerned with going to other jurisdictions that have licensed
certain
facilities.
Substances,
laxer laws.
What's up, Alex?
Well,
yeah, that's good.
Yes,
on, Alex?
We're all here. Let's get this party going.
We have assembled.
Idiots, assemble! I love that.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yep.
Welcome back, everyone, to Overqualified Idiots. I am Dan Casey, MD, sports medicine specialist. If you're new to this is a podcast where doctors, lawyers, pharmacists, one rocket scientist come together to share their stories, shoot the breeze, and generally have a good time, hopefully make you laugh. I am joined, as always, by my brother, Patrick Casey, JD.
Yeah, I'm spotting from a a remote location in Cancun, Mexico right now. So, I mean, yeah, I'll probably be a lot happier individual for this podcast. I'm just putting that out there.
From a remote location. You make it sound like you're in hiding.
Oh no,
hiding from work.
mean, I'm hiding from work, certainly. Yeah, of course.
Does work
no
still
question.
find you on vacation?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a cell phone with my email on it, so of course it does.
Ew.
Yeah, I mean, there's some emails to respond to. I check it probably about 3 or 4 times a day, so just to make sure I don't have like 100 emails sitting there.
At my last job, there was no respect for personal time. I would get calls, and not just text messages and emails, but calls as well about patient care while I'm like in some other part of the country. I was actually surprised during my residency. They absolutely respected our time and never called us on vacation. That's the one thing I have to give credit to is like during residency, they really did respect our time.
Yeah,
Every other job in the
residency,
corporate world,
you're working your balls off, so they figure that your time off's pretty precious. So.
And then they got 7 other peons they can kind of go and shake down. And I am also joined by Alex K. JD.
Why, hello there. How's everybody doing?
I'm doing great.
Doing pretty good. I don't know. I guess I can share the news for podcast purposes. Patrick, Dan might already know. I'm having a baby.
Congratulations, buddy.
Yo.
I mean, you're not personally having the baby. Your wife is. But yes.
No. We did some surgeries. It's a thing.
Oh, fair.
He's seahorsing it. He's seahorsing it.
Can feel the wiggling already. It's adorable.
It's
not at the kicking. It's not at the kicking phase yet.
He's gonna be a soccer player. Oh, congratulations, man!
Yeah.
I have the fun you can now because
It's over, Johnny.
There's a lot of things that go away for about 8 years, so Pat tells me.
Oh no, more like 16, 17. I mean, you really want self-sufficiency where you can just leave them unattended. They've got to be in their teens and responsible. So,
all right. So minimum 13 before you can enjoy life again. But that's okay.
By the time they're 8, though, they're like crate trained. They're like a dog. You could just put them in a box and they'll stay good for like 8 hours, right?
We'll figure it out.
Before that, they turn
you're
into
the
a puppy.
anonymous one here, man. Child Protective Services is the thing. So.
Oh, come on. I don't even have a kid yet to abuse, so. That's a later thing.
Oh my god. I was gonna say my baby is currently sleeping. Well, he sleeps like a rock though. He like wakes up like clockwork. That's the one thing that's nice about this kid. He is well crate trained, and but the second he starts crying, I got cut out. So unless anybody has any burning small talk they want to share, I figure we get into the meat and potatoes of the episode.
There's so much meat and potatoes.
So can't handle all this meat. So I wanted to make this episode about medical meets legal, since we have a doctor and 2 lawyers here, with all of the craziness that's going on in the world. Everything's going topsy-turvy and sideways real fast. RFK Jr. was signed in officially. So he said some crazy things, and he wants to do some very crazy things. So right off rip, I actually just want to ask both of you, how much do you think of what he says is real versus like sensationalism by the media? Just right, no thought, just go.
I think that RFK Jr. He's not a fool or an idiot. However, he's definitely portrayed that way. I do think that he lied to the entire way through his confirmation process, because he's as anti-vaccination as you could find a person, I think, on the planet. So
right there, that's one. He's anti-vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that is 100% you believe is true.
Yes.
I mean, there's some other things he said. Like, do you believe he doesn't think HIV is real? I have heard that said.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if he said it. I'm trying to find claims as far as...
I think he is part of that classification of people that believes that AIDS exists, that there's something that causes immunodeficiency syndrome, but it's not a virus, it's not HIV. There's a weird... When you get into like weird medical pseudoscience shit, I'm sure you know, Dan, there's like fractal levels of conspiracy theory. Like, oh, there's this sub niche, and then sub niches of the sub niche of bullshit. And he's somewhere in the spectrum on like everything. It feels like, but
So, how do
So he flirts
you
with
feel
crazy.
about that, Dan? With the HIV's not a thing. Like, what is?
what's your medical opinion on the existence of HIV, Dan?
It exists. I've diagnosed it twice in the past 5 months. Yeah, it sucks. Those are not fun conversations when your urgent care doctor calls you. Yeah, so HIV exists. There's no question about that. It's more along the lines of, I use that as like a barometer for how much I can trust anything else that comes out of a person's mouth. It's kind of like, oh, I'm worried about, there's the other things he said, like pasteurized milk and and vaccines, and I know there's like a base for that, and people.
Is he a raw water person too?
He wants fluoride gone. He does not want fluoride to be present. He, at one point, as I understand it, was some sort of denier of COVID until like 2023.
He also got on like podcasts saying that he thought that COVID was engineered to specifically target.
Yeah, they actually entered that recording into the record during his confirmation, because I watched a YouTube video about like 5 of these things that consecutively happened. Where one of, I think it was that Warren. Warren was just absolutely verbally beating him up with his own words, or maybe it was and maybe in Klobuchar too. I don't know. Both of those senators were just brutal, because I'm like, yeah, okay, here's the recording of you saying this back on this date and this time. We're entering that into the record, and I'm like, oh, this is this is no fun. I don't remember that, or I don't really think I said that, or I was reading from a study, and I'm like, this dude doesn't have any credibility whatsoever. I will say, though, that there are some things that he wants to take out of our food that are good things, that are chemicals that most countries in the world say, no food producer, you can't put that in there. And so I think that there are some things that are positives, but unfortunately, much like the Trump administration, the positives are so outweighed by the negatives. But
so the baby's going out with the bathwater, one might say.
You're making a few good points. That I do think that prevention is the best medicine. I think that it's always easier to prevent than it is to treat. We are the unhealthiest that this country has ever been in terms of rates of obesity and chronic disease. So yeah, when you talk about our diet, the things that are in our food, the banning of certain chemicals, certain food additives, food dyes, we're way behind compared to the rest of the world. That doesn't mean that you can deny the existence of a very often fatal and widespread pandemic that has existed for 50 years. So that being said, I figured now we can get into it, unless anybody else has other fun conspiracies he buys into.
I'm sure there are others. I don't even. It's too many.
Seed oils versus beef tallow. Although Jesus. Dad did always talk about how the burgers from McDonald's tasted better before they switched over to seed oils. I'm like, yeah, if you make anything in just meat oil, it's going to taste better.
Yeah, of course. That's why they should have never gone away from it. Because I mean,
the only science I know on the seed oil versus beef oil thing at all is that the seed oils they're more desaturated fats, and when you're heating those under certain conditions, they can create more aldehydes and other things that you don't really want being in your food that are minorly carcinogenic, but it's not.
Well, all trans fats are the amount of trans fats that are recommended in the diet by, like, I can't remember which organization. There's an organization that looks at our food, and it's not the FDA that I'm thinking of, but it's like a dietitian-backed organization that talks about the amount that is recommended in your diet, and the amount of like trans fats that are recommended in our diet is 0.
Yeah, no.
Is a big fat 0.
Keep in mind though,
0.
Isn't that what was in like Oreos for the longest time?
It was in anything that's fried in most processed foods.
They used to use an artificial process for producing certain trans fats. They don't use that process anymore for a lot of things. Most desaturated fats that you buy, like seed oils and other things like that, are cis fats. Yes. The kink is on the same side, so they're not the same for that. Yeah. And for saturated fats, it's not got the double bond at all. So
cis and trans has to do in this case with actually organic chemistry, so the bonds and the shape of them. So when something is cis, they're like the same shape. Our body can break them down. When they're trans, our body can't break them down. They just stay in you. There's talk about things like margarine and trans fats being like leading causes and contributions to Alzheimer's and that sort of discussion and long-term
margarines don't use trans fats anymore.
Yeah, they used to.
Yeah, they used to, and that used to be a real problem. But
does butter have trans fats?
Cheese has very small amounts of naturally occurring trans fats in it. It's one of the few foods that has it, and it's not good for you. But I mean, cheese is it's crack. No one's going to stop eating fucking cheese.
Cheese is pretty
I'm
addictive.
not going to stop eating bacon. Bring on the Alzheimer's.
I always love the studies that are like cheese is as addictive as cocaine.
Oh my god!
Look at this MRI of the brain waves that light up when you eat cheese, and compare it to this cocaine addict.
That's absurd. Absolutely absurd. I could stop eating cheese tomorrow. I mean, I love it, but it's not like essential to my life. Bacon's another story.
You know, going back to the question you asked, how much do I feel about the medical side of things? Like, there are things that he says, about the ivermectin, the fringe things about COVID, the fringe things that, like, even then I hear that's gained a lot of traction and popularity with some groups and some people that just yell too loud, which ends up being the case for most of those things. But, like, yeah, when you're outright HIV denier, I basically lose all credibility in the rest of what you stand for. So it's hard to sit there and say, like, oh yeah, he's a complete idiot, he's a psychopath. But then again, like, that's kind of what my original question was, is how much of it is sensationalism by media versus actual reality. So the whole prevention side of things and addressing the food industry is something that should happen 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So let's get into the meat and potatoes of what they're actually trying to do. So and this is one of those things where I kind of have to ask the lawyers, because when you talk about vaccine schedules, you talk about the evidence that's there, you talk about how beneficial vaccines are. I mean, vaccines are the victim of their own success. We've eliminated diseases to the point that people don't understand why vaccines were important 60 years ago when they first, basically became widely available. We don't hear about polio, although there are still people literally alive on iron lungs because of it. Oh man, I can't think of his name. Let me Google that really quick, because there's actually like a really good interview of somebody
still in an iron lung.
Still, and I think it was like 15 years ago. The man in iron lung, polio survivor story. But I do think that ultimately vaccines are like the victim of their own success. So what do you think about who? I don't know, Paul. Come on.
Vaccines as it relates to many things that have been mostly eradicated, like mumps and rubella. Mumps made a comeback back in I want to say it was 2018 when the no-vax parents were sending their kids to daycare. So it's alive in the world.
Don't worry.
Vaccinate for mumps, you're gonna get it.
Measles is alive and well in Texas. There's currently an outbreak of 90 cases in Texas, the largest in over 30 years.
Yeah.
Paul R. Alexander, he is the man. He actually has a book. It's called 3 Minutes for a Dog: My Life in an Iron Lung. His interview is actually very moving and very powerful. I just wanted to bring that up, and it's like, I don't think people realize just how devastating disease was, that your children had like a 1 in 4 chance of just dying in childhood just because of these things. I want to talk about the legality of passing these measures to like change vaccine schedules and space out vaccine schedules, which are not necessary. Yes, your kid may have like a light temp and feel crummy for a day after a vaccine, but that's just the immune system doing its job. Mm-hmm. And as somebody who's currently working a respiratory season in urgent care, a fever is not an alarming thing. A fever is normal with a virus, and a fever is your body doing its job. It's making you an inhospitable host for your foreign invader. It doesn't mean you need a Z-Pack for your cold. I have that conversation like 20 times a day. So
could tell it was born of exhaustion.
people don't like me that much. But yeah, can you guys speak to like how someone who's just put into a position who is not qualified, we're going to just say it, it's not defamation, it's just true. He has no qualifications for the position he's been put in. as many, I feel like, elected officials randomly put into certain positions with new administrations are. So that's not a new thing either.
No.
But what is the legality behind changing something this widespread?
So I think
or legal issues, I should say.
My question, Dan, is I think a lot of that stuff isn't necessarily like a law. It's more like standards and practices kind of a thing. So it's more like an industry, like the medical industry talks about those things and sets those rules. I don't think, does the FDA or actually like come in and say like, here is by rule the actual vaccine schedule? I don't think there's a specific thing for that.
No, they don't.
It would be like up to the
point.
practice of the individual doctors and hospitals, as long as it would fall within like a certain standard of care that wouldn't be considered malpractice. But like,
so there's going to be lawsuits challenging this. I just don't. This is coming from a position of ignorance and naivete. Like, what?
So what's the actual, like, is there an executive order, or are they saying they're going to change the vaccine schedules? Where's this statement from? I just want to look it up and see what they're actually trying to say.
He is trying to space out vaccine schedules and basically, my understanding from what I've heard is change what's in certain vaccines.
And it says there's got a panel from the AP.
Yeah, he's going to put together a panel to re-examine the ingredients in vaccines, and that some of it, this idea that it causes autism, this idea that it causes other side effects that haven't been medically proven, and there are side effects from vaccines. Let's not get away from that. There, Guillain-Barré is a common adverse side effect from the flu vaccine.
Yep.
And we still have yet to know what all of the
side
effects from the COVID vaccine are at this point. And obviously any vaccine is going to have side effects, but typically they're in a less than a point. I want to say something like 0.0016% of the population are affected in that way. But
and you have to compare it against the unvaccinated population's side effects experienced, probability of actually catching the disease and the potential from that. So,
and what we do have to remember, and that 0.0016 is in the context of Guillain-Barré or GBS, whatever you want to call it. But there is a vaccine court. So there's a court that the federal government set up so that people can get recovery for injuries that do come from and are proven to come from vaccines. So that's exactly. And so the federal government sets aside money to compensate citizens so that they're encouraging people to continue to take the vaccines. And so there's that's kind of a public safety piece. I mean, if they did anything to try to kind of dismantle those courts, that would be decidedly problematic. In addition to that, I haven't heard anything about that, but it's something that people shouldn't forget. And I don't think a lot of people know. I think I've talked about it on one other episode throughout our, the last 4 or 5, but that's important to note. But yeah, RFK is going to try to, what he can't legislate. I mean, executive orders can be passed, but the doctors have a pretty solid lobby and probably have lawyers that
I wish it was better.
Would litigate it. But the real problem is that whatever they're passing or pushing, the DHS is pushing, now you will find that insurecos will only follow that to pay for compensate for vaccines through your insurance policy, because there are parts of your insureco that encourage that. And so, but they'll anytime that they can latch onto something to limit how much they have to pay, they're going to do it. So that's another danger that I don't know that we've kind of thought about, but that's one that I'm concerned about.
So to clarify a couple things, so the CDC kind of issues out, there's a panel that in America that discusses kind of like the safety of certain vaccines. FDA can approve them, the contents, etc. And then the CDC publishes and pushes out basically the vaccine schedule itself that providers use to adhere to what is generally considered the standard of care. I think you're right, Alex. I think I'm not asking the right question. I guess I would say, what are safety nets or measures? And Patrick talked a little bit about that, as far as preventing the dismantling of one of the greatest medical achievements in all of human history.
I don't know.
I got nothing, man. Well, you're right. He can't pass laws. What he's doing is he's taking that advisory board and just he's removing members that he has decided have conflicts of interest and is putting in members that he wants, is what I understand.
That's the most problematic thing about all of this. That's not typically how things have been done. And I guess that's the point. I mean, the point of the administration is we're cleaning house, except that you're just putting in people that see things exactly from your perspective and are loyal to you so that you get the results you want. I mean, that's not the point. You don't point people. You point the most qualified people because they'll tell you no. I just think the Don and the folks he's putting in are just yes people, and that's just it. Donald Trump doesn't want to hear no. Elon Musk doesn't want to hear no, and any of the other folks are. And that's it. That goes for RFK Jr. as well. So that's why when you say replacing people, it's just like, who is he putting in? Someone less qualified than him to help him make these decisions?
Or at least someone who won't tell him no.
Yeah.
And this is purely anecdotal. Working in urgent care, flu is up something like 170%, flu A specifically this year compared to last year. And I diagnose. I'll see an average of 40 patients a day. It's a fucking lot. Remember when I was bitching about 32? So I'll see 40 patients a day, and I will probably diagnose flu A, I don't know, 10 to 12 times. Like a fourth of what I see. I'm not exaggerating. And I ask every single person, did you get the flu vaccine this year? And they're like, as they shake and they shiver with their 101 degree fever, they go, no, I didn't think I needed it. Like, oh, okay. Well, here you are. So here's some Tamiflu. Get the hell out. Go be sick at home. Drink plenty of fluids, and you'll be better in 5 days. So, yeah, I mean, I have firsthand and first account. It's all anecdotal. So take it for what it is. But firsthand seen the benefit of vaccines. I didn't get measles, mumps, or rubella growing up. My titers are still appropriate, and I still haven't gotten it. Shocker. So I don't really know what direction that's going to go. And it sounds like you guys don't either. So I guess we'll buckle up and enjoy the ride.
It's scary because, I mean, everything's being litigated. I mean, we're going to do this, and we don't, we dare you to stop us. And RFK Jr. is no different.
I think that's the problem with trying to predict any of this, is that it's like, okay, the administration will say it wants to do a thing. The courts will tell it maybe no some of the time in some of the cases, and then how much of the time do they listen? That's the thing I'm concerned about, at the very least, is like, do they listen? And like, also, do they outright just disobey, or do they just go, oh, okay, you said we can't do this specific thing, so we'll do like everything we're doing except for this teeny little thing, and then just pretend that we're complying with the court order, and then you have to re-bring us back into court.
Well, that sounds like every major corporation skirting the tax rules.
Yeah, except that now it's the government doing it, which is much worse because they're the ones who make the rules.
That's worse. You do understand why that's worse, right?
They're the ones who put the people in jail. So when they break the rules, who puts them in jail?
Oh, they'll do a self-investigation and find that they were guilty of no wrongdoing.
Yes.
Fine. I guess I do want to talk about one thing. I want to shout back to our first episode with United Healthcare. This is more just a personal question. This is a semi on topic. United Healthcare responded to all of the negative satire and press they received after like their denial claims were shown to be astronomical, and they had an AI bot denying things for no reason, just because it hit their big red button. United Healthcare respond in turn to influencers, creators, healthcare professionals putting out statements by suing everyone. It's defamation lawsuits. I almost feel like I don't understand defamation well, because my understanding is that you have to say something that is damaging to someone's reputation, potentially causes like financial or personal harm, and that is absolutely false or verifiably false. Is that true, or is that do I have a gross misunderstanding of the law?
So it's mostly okay. The one thing is that the standard depends on whether it's like a private citizen and Pat can remind me the correct higher level for it, but somebody who's basically like well known, or like famous people have a slightly different standard.
Like the biggest corporation in the country, like the biggest medical insurer.
I think they would qualify. I think New York Times qualified, so I would qualify. UHC probably is also going to be in that boat. But yeah, you have to do it. I think it's with actual malice. So with either knowledge or reckless disregard to the truth of the facts that you're asserting. And that you have to say something that is false with those basically, yeah, that you have to know that it's false or act with reckless disregard for the falsity of it, and there has to still be damages for there to actually be a recognizable harm. But
So when they issue these like cease and desist letters, like, hey, remove that TikTok, whatever the hell, remove your YouTube video, do they have any base or claim? Like they're threatening is this just Big Brother with their multi-billion-dollar and team of lawyers just intimidating people, or is there actual potential punitive damages to creators and people just speaking out on behalf of the populace?
I would say that, somebody who's a TikTok influencer saying something negative about UHC has a de minimis effect on someone's bottom line. And you could point to all of these different things that actually happened and came to light through the news media that were the damage that they had. So you don't just have a defense. Truth is a defense under these circumstances. That's only one element of defamation, but you also have, you weren't damaged because I said what the media said, or maybe embellished it or exaggerated it or satired it. Because I think that it would be the actual malice standard for someone like UHC, who is like one of the number one insurance providers in the country, and also the one that's most likely to let you die while on their insurance policy. So, if you're going to have a computer, making your decisions for you, and you don't have real people. Google's does the same thing. Our business page got hit this week or a couple weeks ago because of this. An AI bot, we made changes on our webpage, and AI bot suspended us, and we couldn't get it back. So now I have a new business page as a result, because you can't actually talk to a human being. It's just insane. So no, AI is dangerous. That's very clear. And in this instance, it was very dangerous. And then everybody, you could be making jokes about this on a TikTok or social media. That's not to be taken truthfully. So, it just depends on the context of the statement. But yeah, they're bullies. These people have, literally, they have trillions of dollars of our money, just like the government. And, they have to spend a certain amount of it on claims, but they spend the rest of it on either advertising or lining the pockets of their top folks.
C-suite.
Yeah, because they're the ones that are making the money on behalf of their shareholders. The shareholders want to see the value of their corporation grow as much as possible on their investment. So, they're bullies. Of course they are.
The cost.
The federal government's a bully. The state governments can be bullies. And Insurco is one of the biggest bullies around, and they run the show. And I've got complaints that I've got for my insurance company because of complete denial of claims recently for myself on basic stuff. So, yeah, I love insurance companies. They're the greatest.
I saw an insurance
Truly.
company deny, a dentist came out saying an insurance company denied some 80-year-old man's routine cleaning. I'm like, routine cleaning, the primary care, that's the equivalent of just like a primary care visit for a routine health check. That's the most basic, necessary.
I had one of my kids just get they said my kid's pediatrician was out of network all of a sudden because of a changeover in the policy that they never notified us either in writing or electronically, and I have to pay 100% of that visit, which if I'd had to pay out of pocket without insurance would probably be a third of what the cost that they're assessing to me, because the place billed it as if they're billing it to insurance. It's another little wrinkle of the scam that is the Insurco process anyways. But.
Oh yeah, that's true with pharmacies too. I tell patients this pretty often. If they're worried, you can go to GoodRx and do the coupon thing, but if you just go and pay out of pocket for most generic medications, they will be cheaper arbitrarily than if you used your insurance. I've seen this many times with a lot of common medications like, your lisinoprils, your losartans, your metformins. You go to the pharmacy. The pharmacy is not
cheap on insurance.
There are gag orders. There are gag orders on the pharmacists where they are not allowed to talk about this. I don't think I am. I don't have a gag order. Hold on. Hold on.
Want to check on that,
you better check on that before you post this.
Yeah.
Hold on. Discuss.
I'm not trying to get us sued by UHC, but they're a bag of dicks. I don't really give a shit.
I'd rather us not get sued by UHC.
Please have them send. Please have them send me a letter. I'd love to see one of those. I would put it all over the place saying, "Look at these Look at how pathetic they are.
Luigi did nothing wrong. I mean, what?
Have you noticed how we
I
never
have to
heard
say, honestly, I do not believe that he was the person who did the deed. That he's a patsy.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
my opinion. There are already documentaries about this kid.
Yeah, I know.
On platforms. I refuse to watch them because it's just so disgusting. Like, you
Okay,
think
that's
I'm
the
that
next-
stupid?
That's the next topic. Let me finish my thought.
Oh, sorry.
That's literally where I was going next.
No, there's a great thing.
I don't.
On that, but...
Based off this, I am allowed to talk about this.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so, yeah, because Medicare drug pricing is a thing. So when it comes to generic prices, if you go through your insurance, they have a set price, and then you have a set percentage responsibility. But there is an actual set cost of the drug.
Yeah.
So the watchers can know what I'm doing, but the listeners are. So there's the set price by the insurance that we're going to call that A. Let's just say arbitrarily it's $20.
It's lots.
But they have a percentage that you have to pay for. Let's say you have to pay 40%. That's $8. The cost of the drug, if you buy it out of pocket, might be $6.
Yep.
Yes.
So, like, because most of the, especially the generics, the cost to manufacture and produce these are pennies. Yeah. So ultimately, the insurance scam through Farmco and you called it Insureco, Farmco is well and alive, but pharmacists have gag orders where they're not allowed to discuss this.
Yeah, we can't tell people what the best interest of their patients are because large corporations and the federal government tell you don't share information. Literally keep people in the dark so we can keep bilking them for money. It's absolutely insane. I keep saying, I've been talking to many of my college friends who are either lawyers or at least were political science majors. And it's an authoritarian oligarchy between the corporations and the federal government. This is no longer a democracy. We have choices between garbage and trash, or the felon and the vulnerable adult. I mean, it's a farce. And that's the best our country can put forward.
Didn't South Park call it like 30 years ago? You can have a douche or a turd sandwich. Apparently. And that's all we've ever had for the last 40, 50 years. Yeah. I want to touch... Oh, sorry. You had a thought. Go for it.
Oh, the one thing I was going to say is, like, as far as getting on what Pat was saying with, like, obfuscating information unnecessarily, like, Medicare has standard payments that they make for basically everything. There's a fucking chart you can find somewhere of all the common billing codes. The fact that it does not exist somewhere as a freely available resource, a thing that just says for your state, because they do divvy it out state by state based on incomes and things like that. For your state, here's just the billing sheet of what Medicare pays for fucking everything. And there are some tiny tweaks by hospital, but otherwise this is about what you have to pay. The fact that that's not public information, that's not something you can just find, that you'd have to do the calculations yourself or have the proprietary sheet and software that does that for you that someone owns. I think the actual American Medical Association owns it or some shit like that. There's some weird thing where they own some of the actual billing code sheets and stuff like that.
I mean, as I believe we have to like request to the coders to get that information. I think you can get that like as a doctor, but it's a pain in the ass, and half the time it doesn't work out. So I don't
request it. I
don't even know how readily available it is to us, the people who use it to make decisions. Because we're now in the age of where I have to think about cost in order to treat you appropriately. Because I don't want to bankrupt you while I keep you alive.
Anytime an industry has to have like a layer between you and finding out what the price of the thing they're selling you is a weird spot to be in. Like,
why would transparency ever be any part of any business plan?
So, going back to that other thing that I jumped the gun on. So the first thing that
let's get into it. Good segue, Pat.
Yeah, I was just trying to throw myself under the bus. The first thing that Mangione said when he was when he was in front of press was, the American people aren't this stupid. And he's a patsy. And I just go back to, Lee Harvey Oswald. You start off talking about patsies and go right down the line. There are people that they put up as the people that are supposedly responsible for this horrible thing. And they're not, but they plant all the evidence, and it's all just this open and shut case, and we're good. So
Yeah, you got your sacrificial goat.
Yeah.
The thing on what you were talking about, Pat, with there already being interviews and all of the like documentaries that are being made, there was a press statement that I don't know if you guys have seen from Mangione's attorney, where she came out and said, I was very surprised to find out that the prosecution has all of this evidence that they're telling the documentary series about in these interviews with Eric Adams in it for some fucking reason,
Which
but
is
not
totally
giving it
unethical.
to us when they're obligated to by law to provide us with all of this information, any Brady information they have, anything that's relevant to the case. What the fuck's going on here?
How is that?
And you're also
possible?
Publicly airing evidence in an ongoing like case, which is something that just should not normally
Completely
happen.
Yeah,
unethical.
it's still happening.
Like this
I was
would
gonna
be
say
a mistrial in any other circumstance. Like,
Yep.
but because you killed a rich guy, we get to fucking publicly slag you forever because the billionaire-owned media just decides, oh, well, you know, it's one of ours, so we gotta run some real serious talk on this.
Isn't that interesting though? Like, I also feel like Luigi kind of just disappeared from the media because I feel like every time they put him up, the entire public response was like sympathy, understanding. They showed him like wet himself at one point and did a walk with him like he was fucking Batman, and with surrounded by an entire like police detail. And I'm just like, you guys remember who Batman and Superman were, right? Like they're the people that take care of us that the elite don't like. And I'm like, it was completely out of touch nonsense. But here we are.
So cool.
He looks so fucking cool. God
Orange
damn it.
jumpsuit surrounded by dudes with guns. Like, what was he, fucking Superman? Like,
apparently he's the greatest assassin in history, allegedly.
Just gonna rip right out of those handcuffs. And...
But the reality of it is, I feel like that disappeared overnight as soon as the response was just generally like, yeah, fucking Luigi is one of us. Any one of us could be Luigi. And I feel like the elite went, ooh, that's not what we wanted.
There's something I would love to take this just slightly in a different direction. Maybe this is a whole episode, but the hacker group, I can't remember their name.
Anonymous
dropped a video this week about how and discussed how the choices and decisions that the administration is making are going to destroy this country, and that they're going to do everything in their power to not let that happen. And so, and I was just, it's just one of those weird things because it's the guy in the, the mask. Remember the 5th of November from Vendetta?
Yeah, the for Vendetta mask.
Yeah.
I know it has a name, but I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, me neither. Sean
Guy Fawkes?
Yeah,
Guy Fawkes. Yeah, the Guy Fawkes mask. Good job.
Cold
way
star
to pull that
for me.
someplace. Yeah, way to pull that somewhere in like the cobwebs in the back of your brain. But
when you're related to our brother, it's in there.
Yeah, I know.
What you're saying, Patrick, is that we should blow up Parliament?
No,
Hold on, Luigi.
Whoa.
Hey, it's the British Parliament. I'm an American. I get to make that joke.
I just think with the continued wealth disparity that exists in this country, and then the almost intentional way in which our governments and corporations are trying to create it even further, they're setting themselves up for a complete authoritarian takeover, that people are going to be so upset, disenfranchised, and unable to even buy the regular necessities of life, and many people are in that position now, that it's going to create unrest. I think they want to do it purposefully. I'm thinking more and more, the more I see the direction of all of these strange things that are going to cost us all a huge pile of cash. Let's tariff everything, because that won't have any impact on our economy or how much goods. Well, look, I mean, I could tell you about all of these different countries that are now like not trading with us or raising the cost of goods astronomically on us as a result. It's all out there in readily available information. It's just that most folks don't take the time. It's really kind of it's a fucked up time to be alive right now. I'm telling you right now, because I feel like they're trying to create this unrest so that they can declare martial law and shut us down. But it's really just scary if you use like, a few brain cells. And I know I sound like a horrible conspiracy theorist, and I can tell you, up until Donald Trump was elected as president, I would have told you, yeah, that's nuts. That's just crazy. That's not what our government and corporations are doing. But now, I mean, in part, Donald Trump's bringing it to light, but also part of the problem. So, I mean, I don't even know what to tell you.
I don't know even how to say how much I believe in it's by design and they're doing it intentionally versus it's just corporate and human greed taken to an extreme. I'm not sure how much is which, if it's little column A, little column B, but it's hard not to see the American dream and the American dream is not real anymore. The American system is as a culture and as a country is in decline. There's no question about that. I remember growing up as a kid and being told if you work hard, if you you apply yourself, you go to school, go to college, you can do and be whatever you want. And now between student loans, the cost of living, the cost of housing, people, my generation, the generation I'm a part of that I worked hard and was successful isn't having kids because they're too expensive.
Yeah. Right.
And we're talking about the population bust and the lack of a baby boom. And oh my God, where are all of our menial workers going to come from? Have children, peasants. What are you doing? It's just amazing to watch it in real time. I don't know how.
All while at the same time trying to deport the largest group of people to perform those jobs at the time.
Yeah. I mean,
and catching people that don't deserve to be in that group of people. I would just let you know, and I don't know if I mentioned this on previous episodes, ICE is showing up to courthouses and disrupting state court proceedings in my state. And so and that doesn't, and
you're as far from the border as you get.
And I've seen articles where they're not just getting folks that don't have a legal or are illegal, but also people who have legal statuses, but by virtue of the crime charge, they could lose that status. And I've got serious concerns that we're scooping up people, and then the next thing you know, we'll scoop up the rest of us if we're in disagreement.
There've already been reports of people who are completely innocent, a lot of these people aren't guilty of anything. They're just immigrants, but people who also are citizens, even native-born citizens who just happen to have brown skin and be around immigrants.
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense
They've
because
been swept in it, but yeah.
I mean, by definition, if you are an asylum seeker and you go through the correct processes, seeking asylum is legal.
Mm-hmm.
That's not.
Yep.
How are you guilty by proximity? How are you guilty by association? That's illegal.
Do we want to switch over to talking about how Donald Trump has completely overturned fucking international law now?
Yeah, no kidding.
What are you talking about, Gulf?
Go ahead,
America?
Alex. You run this one.
Oh,
well,
great.
hold on. This is a medical episode. Hold on.
He took us out of the WHO, so that's one. He's taking us out of it.
At least he's trying to relate it to the episode. I mean, you could just say this could be the world's fucked up, Patrick and Cancun episode. Put that, meld that together. The world's fucked up, and we just can't stop talking about how fucked up it is. I mean, go, Alex. Though, no, I want you to finish your.
All right.
No, I mean, just everything that's been coming up with it related to international law stuff. But the switch over on Russia, Ukraine is the most insane shit.
Disgusting.
How the fuck did this ever happen? How did this even happen on that side of things? The fact that fucking J.D. Vance goes to Germany, gives a big speech, and then was a major German general that I'm forgetting the actual name of, comes up right afterward and basically has to give a small speech in German versus his prepared remarks in English because he's like, well, hold on, I have to address some of what was said there, and basically says, yeah, it sounds like America wants to make a deal without involving us and leave us holding the bag, so it sounds like we can't trust America anymore.
Yep.
It sounds like we're on our own, so we're going to start acting like it. And that is becoming a broader feeling across Europe now. We've alienated ourselves in the course of a month from every major alliance we ever have had. We fucking shat the bed with Mexico and Canada in week 1, and now we're doing it with all of Europe. We're threatening fucking Greenland for some godforsaken reason, which is pissing off Denmark.
Well, the reason I can tell you about Greenland,
I'm sure
that one I've got a little bit more information on, but yeah. And Mexico and Canada, I mean, obviously, but yeah, I mean, it's not just healthcare. It's every facet of our lives is going to be impacted by the absolute insanity that's happening. And you're seeing the changes in public perception regarding Donald Trump as things get more and more crazy. And you see inflation on the rise again.
Mm-hmm.
So his approval rating is now dipped down in the lower 40%. If he gets in the 30%, he has no mandate to do a damn thing. So
Yeah, but does that matter?
That matters, right? Thank you, Alex.
No.
I appreciate that. Sorry, we're both on the same page in that regard. But yeah, Greenland, it's because of the resources they have on their continent, and China and Russia are negotiating with them for those. So Donald Trump, in his infinite wisdom, says, "Yeah, we're gonna take over Greenland. It's
We're
gonna
just
be
going to
ours.
annex.
Yeah, you know,
We're gonna annex Greenland. It's supposed to strategical location for where it's located. Yeah, because if China and Russia are that close to our country, that's not good for us. They're I mean, they're negotiating like shrewd folks who've been doing it for thousands of years, as opposed to us who have only been doing this for a couple hundred and have put a fucking maniac in charge. So,
man, an international law episode would have been really good. I guess that could still
dude,
be
we
on the
could
back
do an
burner.
episode on anything related to the law right now, and it's everybody freaking the fuck out. Basically,
lawyers win. I mean, there's
starting
tons
to
of
sense
people.
some themes.
my office
Tons
is
of lawsuits.
really happy that the CFPB is imploding because they used to regulate a lot of our stuff, and now there's less, which isn't good for a lot of people, but makes my job in theory easier.
Before I or any of the audience members have any panic attacks, let's go ahead and end the episode on one medical thought, because that was kind of the theme. Pat, for any job, have you ever had to bring in call out sick and bring in a doctor's note for calling out sick?
Repeat that one more time. I apologize.
Have you ever had a job where if you called out sick, you had to get a doctor's note in order to say, excuse your absence or that sort of thing? I personally don't think you have. Have you?
Never.
Yeah.
I think
Alex,
when I was working at Fry's Food and Drug, I missed like 3 days in a row, and they said I need a doctor's note or something because I had severely twisted my ankle, and that wasn't enough to not do my shifts. And I said, "Don't worry, I'm just not coming back." I think when I was 16, may have been the only time that I can think.
So 30 years ago, got it.
Yep.
And so, Alex, have you ever had a job?
I think I've had that happen one time that it came up, and I went and got a doctor's note. And basically, I just walked in and told the doctor, "Hey, I've had this cough for like 3 days, and I just want a doctor's note." And he was like, "Oh, thank you for telling me that. Here you go."
Okay,
You
so
can get out
in
now.
urgent care, I have that visit 4 or 5 times a day, especially and twice on Mondays. But my question is, what is the legality in terms of HIPAA of an employer having the right to request medical information? What doctor you went to? This is for the listeners. What doctor you see, what clinic you go to, and what you go to them for is privileged information and protected under HIPAA. Why is that a cultural norm when it's actually illegal, or technically can be illegal? Like, you could turn around and sue your employer.
Well,
Not that companies would ever.
the HIPAA thing is without your consent. When you have an employment agreement with an employer, it's usually a provision of the employee handbook that you're agreeing to as part of whatever contract you've signed with your employer that says you're consenting to all these terms. In order to use the leave, they make it a condition. And so if you've made an agreement to that, you have consented.
So
in most cases, they get around it that way. It's by contract.
By contract. Okay, that makes more sense. All right. In my head, I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, well, my name's on this. They know who they saw. Half the time I don't put a reason because it's not required. I usually say an acute illness or an acute injury. And I was like, but are they allowed to know this? I'm like, if you already signed the contract, that makes sense. Okay, never mind. Well, I'm glad we diffused the situation. The end of the world talk has died down a little. I think this is a good time to wrap up the episode.
Yeah.
I think it's a good time.
I was gonna bring it back. The law is fake. No.
We could do a whole entire episode talking about this whole business in Russia and Ukraine. Just saying.
What was that comment for the last episode? It's the laws are fake and the rules are all made up and none of it matters.
Pretty much.
Line is it anyways.
And all of it matters, but there's nothing you can do about it. So just cry.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Back
Cry
to
in your
cry in the
corner.
It'll be fine.
or remain informed and try to make change. That's what we're going to keep doing. as
Sounds
best
good.
as we can with a microphone, and our individual lives in practice.
I'm
So
going to be a little busy with a small child for the next couple of years, probably.
no,
but
man, you
I'll
gotta
make the
fight
change that I
You gotta
can.
fight the man.
I got to fight the
You
power while I'm raising
put on-
a baby.
Put on the baby backpack or strap him to your chest. We got a world to save. God damn it.
With a Bjorn on one.
Thank you guys for being here. If you have any passing thoughts or final thoughts, contribute them now. Except Patrick.
That's why I was sitting here quiet, because I knew you didn't want me to say anything like doomsday or esque or something.
Well,
like
it's hard to shut you down once you're on a roll.
This is true.
I just start to talk and you talk louder somehow. It's impressive. You have mastered the art of you hear someone else's voice and your voice goes up like 4 or 5 decibels more.
Yeah,
Maybe
I've been
even
practicing law for almost 22 years. People interrupt me and talk over me all the time.
So talking louder means you're winning? Oh, man, that's law?
Here's my personal final take just for everybody in our topic here. There's a lovely little thing that you can find online. You look up the CIA Simple Sabotage Field Manual. It's actually not even about doing sabotage. It's about, or not sabotage in the traditional sense. It's about doing it with as little risk to yourself as possible, basically through forms of civil disobedience. And a lot of the things in it are basically just be bad at your job if your job is related to the bad things that are supposed to be happening. And, I highly recommend it. It tells you to have meetings when meetings aren't supposed to happen or don't need to happen. Question very simple instructions and ask lots and lots of questions. Get very confused. Promote people who are bad at their jobs. Make it hell for people who are good at their jobs, and, just find every little nitpick you can and make them miserable. So, if you're a middle manager and you're in the government still and you haven't been fired yet, just strong recommended read.
Yes, the approach to civil disobedience is deny, delay, and depose.
I thought that
that's not civil disobedience.
You know what it sounds like to me?
I was just saying it sounded really familiar for a minute. That's all.
What's that? Oh, what's that movie where they bust up the printer? That's what it sounds like.
Office Space.
Office Space. There you go. I want to say the Office Space. But yeah, Office Space. The most incompetent people are still working here, and anybody who puts forth any effort has to work extra and gets nitpicked on by 7 bosses, Bob.
Yep.
So there you go.
I love the idea of taking a baseball bat to a printer. I'm a revolutionary. Bam. All right. Well, thank you guys for being here and doing this with me. This is always a blast. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in. Hopefully this episode airs while we're still a country and still, all together united and functioning.
It'll still be a country. It'll just be
There's Mad Max out there. I just need to spray paint my teeth and, anyways. All right.
America.
Until next time. Follow us on all social media platforms. Follow us on all podcast platforms. Listen, download to show your support. And if you have ideas, go to the Reddit and post episode ideas or things you want to hear about. Post questions, because we will be having a Q&A episode coming up soon again. That was a big hit. I have had multiple people, including some of my patients, which made me a little uncomfortable, ask for more Q&A episodes. So we'll be doing that again soon.
Yeah.
All right. And until then, take care and stay safe out there.
Bye-bye.